Just take a moment to ask yourself the following question before you continue watching this video. Can you tell me how many different compasses there are in flamenco? Tell me what you think in the comments. But take your time, okay? Take a few minutes, think about it, and I see you right now. Hi, this is Guillermo Guillen for FlamencoMAPS. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to make your flamenco life easier by giving you an overview of flamenco from the perspective of the compass. I know that sometimes learning flamenco can be overwhelming, right? So many things to learn, so many things to understand, to practice, to study. I'll do some cleaning there by explaining that there are not as many different compasses as you might think. So what if I told you that in a certain way there are only 4 different flamenco compasses? And then you would tell me, what? Only 4? How is it possible? Well, almost 4. It's almost that easy. As I explained in this video, the word compass means many different things. But for today, we'll take it just as a rhythmic loop, a rhythmic cycle, or a meter in academic language. You know that flamenco consists in palos, right? Like soleá, alegría, siguiriya, fandango, tientos, tango, bulería. There are literally dozens of palos. But are there dozens of different compasses, like 1 per palo? Luckily, not. Let's get the first thing out of the way right now. There is a part of the flamenco repertoire that doesn't use compass at all. There are 2 families of palos without compass: los palos libres and los cantes a palo seco. They are arrhythmic palos in the sense that in the interpretation, you don't have the feel of a regular pulse or a specific loop, a specific cycle. But we'll talk about them another day, because today what we want to talk about is about palos with compass. The first thing, do not confuse compass and palo. Compass and palos are 2 different things. The compass, in the sense of rhythmic cycle, is like a set of rhythmic rules that will apply for this type. I explained in this video how we define a type of compass: number of beats, number and place of the accents, and starting point. And when we say compás de alegría, we know what we are talking about. We know about these rules: 12 beats with accents on 3, 6 or 7, 8, 10, 12, the traditional cierres on 10, all these kind of rules. But is there really a compás de alegría that is exclusive to alegría? No. The type of compass is an essential parameter of a palo, but it is usually not exclusive to any palo. For example, there is a type of compass that we use por alegría, but also por many other palos. Soleá, bulería por soleá, one way of doing bulería, all the cantinas, la bambera, la caña, el polo, many things. Another important thing, do not confuse palo, compass, and palmas pattern. That's another problem, but I already talked about that in this video. So to summarize, there are different palos that use the same type of compass. And also, even though it's pretty rare, there are palos that can use different types of compasses, like 1 palo, but different possibilities of rhythmic cycles that we can use to sing this palo. We'll talk about this another time. Now I think it's clear, right? Palos and compass, 2 different things. What does that mean? It means that, in fact, when you just hear rhythm, just a rhythmic loop with only palmas or nudillos or tapao, it's impossible to determine precisely a palo. We can identify a type of compass, and then we can deduce several possible palos. So more than a specific compass, each palo uses a specific type of compass. And the good news for us is that a type of compass usually behaves the same way regardless of the palo. It has the same structure, it works the same way with the same rhythmic rules, with the same cues and the same codes in the same places, with exceptions always, but as a rule of thumb it works pretty well. So instead of learning the same thing 10 times, thinking that it's 10 different things and risking a flamenco burnout, it's faster, easier, and more efficient to learn one thing and be able to apply it in 10 different contexts. Learn one Compás type and use it in 10 palos. This way we can simplify a lot our learning. Simplify but not oversimplify. Rather, simplify to amplify. One big advantage of all of this is that once you understand very well one Compás type, you can recycle a lot of material. You can use the same rhythmic elements like palmas patterns, marcajes, llamadas, cierres, remates, escobillas in many different palos as long as the rhythmic cycle is same and also the tempo, obviously. And this is what people do. They recycle a lot because flamenco people, we are lazy but smart. So how many Compás types? Let's see if I finally answer the question. In terms of Legos, we can build any type of flamenco compás only from 2 different Legos. 2 beats yellow Legos and 3 beats red Legos. So from here, in terms of Legos, we only have 3 types of compasses. The exclusively yellow compasses, the exclusively red or pink. Is it red or pink? It's like pink, right? The exclusively pink-red compasses, and the mixed compasses that mixed red and yellow Legos. And flamenco artists usually call these compasses mixtos, mixed compasses, or compasses de amalgama, amalgamated compasses. So 3 big types of compasses. It's good, but it's a bit too general, right? In each of these 3 families, we have subfamilies with their own characteristics. So let's dive a bit deeper. The rhythmic cycles made exclusively from yellow Legos are usually 4 beats compasses. There are different ways of counting them, especially the dancer, who most of the time use a count in 8 beats because it's much more functional for them. But even if you count in 8, it's just 4 plus 4. It's always a tricky and controversial subject, so I don't want to go deeper in this right now. Topic for another day. Instead of 2 yellow Legos, we could also use a blue 4 beats Lego, as I explained in this video on how to build a llamada and cierre por tango. But I prefer 2 yellow Legos. One of the reasons is that sometimes we want to use medio compasses, half compasses of just 2 beats, as in taranto para baile, for example. Taranto when it's danced, or zambra, but it's quite rare, so usually 4 beats, it works for everything. I don't like to differentiate the palos in terms of tempo. Tempo is not reliable to differentiate the palos, and I explain it in this video. And a 4 beat compass will usually behave the same way whether it is fast or slow. But yes, I like to differentiate them in terms of subdivisions. Many of the palos that use a 4 beat compass use binary subdivisions. Binary subdivisions sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Taka 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 taka. Like tango, rumba, farruca, garrotín, colombiana, tiento para baile, and taranto para baile. But other palos that also use the 4 beats compasses are characterized by ternary subdivisions, especially tanguillo, zapateado, tiento para cante, la mariana, and cantes del piallo when it's cante only, without dance. 4 beats in ternary subdivisions sounds like this: 1, 2, 3. Ticota, 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 taka, ka, 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 ka. These are just examples, okay? But the feel is very different compared to the binary subdivisions, right? And this is the way the palos are interpreted nowadays. Because if you go back in time, everything that was in 4 beat was much more ternary. Almost all the palos in 4 beats were with ternary subdivisions. So this applies for the current way of interpreting things. And you see that it can also depend on if the palo is danced or not. Here, yes, different tempo and different rhythmic interpretations. We'll talk about this another time. Now the rhythmic cycles, the compasses exclusively made from 3 beats pink Lego. There are palos that use just one simple 3 beats Lego, a simple single 3 beats compass, like los campanilleros, the fandangos that we call abandolados, okay, not fandango de Huelva, fandangos abandolados, like verdiales, javeras, javegote, rondeña, fandangos de Lucena, fandango de frasquito y hierbabuena. Also sometimes la arborea is just in simple 3 beats, and also some villancicos that are Christmas songs, and some of them are just in simple 3 beats. Then there are palos that use a pair of 3 beats Legos, so 6 beats, and they are the fandangos de Huelva and sevillanas. Fandango de Huelva and sevillanas actually use the same compass. They may have a 3 feel sometimes when we just feel one Lego, but the minimum cycle is 6 beats. I explain everything in this video. And then comes the crazy but beautiful family of 12 beats compasses. This family is made up of 3 sub-families, what I call the 12 beats soleá type compass, that we use for, again, soleá, bulería por soleá, all the types of cantiña, including alegría, romance, la caña, el polo, la bambera, one possibility of bulería. The second family is the 12-beat siguiriya type compass that we use for siguiriya, cabales, liviana, serrana, and martinete and tona, usually when they are tensed because they don't have compass in their origin. And the third one is the 12 beats guajira type compass that we use for guajira and petenera. It's fundamental to understand that these 3 subfamilies and all the palos they include use only one and same 12-beat cycle with 5 accents. And you can very easily visualize this on the famous flamenco clock. 12 beats, 5 accents, always on the same places, on 3, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Structurally speaking, they have everything in common. In terms of Legos, they all use 12 beats divided into 5 Legos, 2 pink Legos and 3 yellow Legos, with 1 accent per Lego, so 5 accents. And the Legos of the same color are always consecutive, together. Like you never have this or this. Doesn't exist. Together, this or this. Imagine I'm playing a 12-beat cycle on my own, and you enter the room. You don't know if I'm playing soleá type, guajira type, siguiriya type, and you don't know where I started. There is no way for you to know which compass I'm doing. I'm just doing the clock, the cycle. So if everything is same, what's the difference? What changes is the angle from which we'll attack each cycle, the starting point, the starting beat, or the starting Lego, and consequently where we end. The 12-beat soleá type compass starts on 1. I know there are eternal debates on if it starts on 12 or on 1. For me, it starts on 1, not on 12, and I have many reasons for that. I'll tell you another day. The siguiriya type compass starts on 7 or 8, depending on how you feel it, but both are possible, in my opinion. And there is an alternative siguiriya count that is much more functional, counting the 5 accents instead of the 12 beats, explained here. The links to all the videos I'm mentioning are in the description, I precise. And then the guajira type, and this one, yes, starts on 12, and there are musical reasons for that. You could ask, but ultimately, if it's looping, what does it change if we start here or there? Even though we are using the same raw material, depending on where we start, will change the internal structure of the compass, of the cycle. It gives a different layout for the Legos, the distribution and succession of the accents, where the rhythmic elements are placed, like the llamadas and the cierres. This will tell you where I started and where I'm finishing. At least it will tell you if it's siguiriya or soleá and guajira. For these two, we need another element. And here we touch on a very vast and fascinating subject that we'll have to talk about again. A compass is in fact never just rhythm, and even less in this family of 12 beats compasses. There is a very strong relationship between compass and harmony, between pure rhythm and what the guitar does and what the cante does. That conditions a lot the feel of each compass type and the melodic and the musical content. We'll talk more about this. As always in flamenco, there are exceptions, things that don't fit into existing boxes because the boxes are too small. And that's great, right? It makes everything more interesting. There is another group or subgroup of compasses that I call the multi-dimensional troublemakers. And in this group, I put bulería and tanguillo. I mentioned them already, but as palos, like cantes, but here I'm talking about the compass itself. I put them in a separate category because they are very complex. They are multidimensional, polyrhythmic troublemakers, compasses. They have different layers with different things happening. Everything overlaps and it creates crazy, rhythmic, multidimensional kaleidoscopes. That's why they don't belong to any other group, or better said, they belong to different groups at the same time. The bulería compass comes from the 12-beat soleá type compass, but it emancipated itself from this family and it became something else, much more complex, different, with particular rules of the game, with a system of medio compass and with different fields like the 3-field and the 2-field. And we use this type of compass in many other palos than bulería. It can be used por romance, la arborea, jaleos. Sometimes we even use this type of compass to express the abandolao compass that we talked about earlier. And the tanguillo is maybe the most complex compass in flamenco. We usually keep it in the 4 beats family, but with ternary subdivision. Beautiful compass, but you can also feel it in 3 beats with binary subdivisions. And there are other ways, and all this overlaps and creates a fascinating compass. We use the tanguillo compass por tanguillo, por zapateado, and also sometimes in escobillas in a baile por tiento or por taranto. I know it's many information, right? But that's why there are videos on YouTube. You can watch them the number of times you want. So, to sum up, now you see clearly that a specific compass and a specific palo are 2 different things. The compass type refers to the rhythmic cycle that one or more palos can use. There are many palos in flamenco, but not so many compasses. Only 3 big categories: the yellow compasses, the pink compasses, and the mixed compasses. It gives 4 big families: in 3 beats, in 4 beats, in 6 beats, and in 12 beats. And now a bit more precisely, in terms of compass types, we can say that we have 9 main compass types. 3 beats, 4 beats binary subdivisions, 4 beats ternary subdivisions, 6 beats, 12 beats soleá type, 12 beats siguiriya type, 12 beats guajira type, and the troublemakers bulería, tanguillo. There are palos without compass, but each palo a compass finds a place in one or more than one categories in here. We'll have to talk about all of them, we'll have to practice and internalize them, but I find that these numbers are a relief, right? 3 or 4 or 9. It's not like 53 or 127 possible compasses. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it helped you understand a bit better the overview of the flamenco compasses. If it helped, you can also help me by liking this video. Please leave a comment. It helps a lot. Please also consider supporting my work on Patreon. I leave the link in the description. And as always, also go and visit FlamencoMAPS.com, where I explain all my online classes, courses, and my way of teaching flamenco. I see you there. Till then, play Compás Type.